Mike Jeffers. Welcome to Talking Chicago Blues. I'm with Chicago Jazz Magazine, but we are launching a brand new series called Talking Chicago Blues. And of course, it's leading up to the Great Chicago Blues Fest, which is going to be happening June 7th through the 9th in Millennium Park. And I'm very happy to welcome here the incredible guitarist, vocalist, good friend of mine. Guy King is here. He's going to be headlining, well, you're going to be performing, I should say, on one of the stages, the Budweiser Crossroads Stage, June 7th, 2:45 to 4 p.m. with special guest Chris Cain.
Yes.
But then you're also doing something that night at Buddy Guy. So you got like a double dip with the same band. That's going to be exciting.
Yes.
Guy, it's great to see you.
You too,
I know you've been traveling all over Europe, all over the country, doing tons of stuff. You got a new album coming out. We're going to talk about that too. But let's focus a little bit at first on this performance you got coming up June 7th at the Blues Fest with Chris Cain. So why don't we talk, who's in the band and how did performing with Chris Cain come about?
Okay, so thanks for having me.
Yeah,
great to see
absolutely.
You. And really glad to be back at the Chicago Blues Festival. And for this special show, it doesn't happen every day that Chris and I are sharing a stage together doing the show.
Yeah.
The band will be my band. It'll be
okay.
My band from Chicago. Will be Tom Weitzes on keyboard, Joshua Ramos on bass, Samuel Jewell on drums, Marcus Carroll on trumpet, Anthony Bruno on saxophone.
Nice, nice.
And the great Chris Cain will be joining us. He came about when I received a phone call from the Chicago Blues Festival asking me if they wanted to put a show together. They talked about Chris and I think Dick Sherman they were intrigued of seeing us because we come from similar background, I think.
Okay.
Chris, I think being 20 years, my senior, I heard of him when I was 21, when I first came to Chicago and thought he was great.
Yeah.
And
wasn't he playing? He played with Albert Collins and played with all those.
He shared. He knew Albert King liked him a lot.
Okay.
And he kind of made his own stamp. He'd been late 70s, early 80s. I was just born. And he's great, and they wanted to put a special show. If I would, they said that we already contacted Chris, and he said he would love to, and I said, of course, you know, we should do it. So Chris is great. He is a great player, great musician, knows how to blend the blues and the jazz with the soul as well. So I think they thought that it would be really a strong combination.
So what kind of tunes are you going to play? Because you've got your whole own repertoire. You've got your originals. You've got original arrangements of standards. You've got all sorts of stuff. So what kind of stuff? Have you guys even gotten that far?
We talked, and it's about a little over a month now. It's the point where we're kind of going to solidify and pick what we're going to do. Chris is a big... Albert King and B.B. King are big influences on him. Same thing for me.
Right? Yeah.
I think he shares the love to Wes Montgomery and Joe Pass and Ray Charles. I know that for a fact. Chris messaged me and was like, "Man, I heard you do that Ray Charles tune on YouTube. I can't believe it, man. Nobody ever does this tune." So we share a lot. So there'll be some surprises. I know Chris has a lot of original material, and so do I. Maybe we can bring that to the table as well and kind of play off of one another doing these selections. So it'll be interesting, that's for sure.
How many times have you played the Blues Fest in Chicago? Because, you know, I know a little bit about you because you came over from Israel and you started playing the blues and you started playing with Willie Kent, right? I mean, you must have played a fest with Willie Kent.
I played two with Willie Kent. We played the main stage either once or twice. I think one time I remember right before Otis Rush and one time right before Chuck Berry. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was maybe it was the same fest with both of them. I'm not sure. And one time we did something with Louisiana Red, who passed away, like Willie as well. I think it was 3 times with Willie.
Yeah.
And then with my own, under my own name, 4 times, 5 times now.
And then you did a tribute to Willie Kent too, right? Weren't you part of that
too? Yeah, the big
right?
Delmark Records had a big showcase at the main stage last year, and I was a part of it. Paying my respect to Willie Kent.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of like a staple of the Chicago Blues Fest.
Getting there. Maybe I'm getting there. But lately I've been traveling more. So, you know, seems like less in Chicago and more internationally, more nationally too, finally.
Well, and that's what I was going to say is because, you know, it's a great opportunity for those of you that have not heard Guy King. Of course, go to guyking.net and you can hear lots of Guy King there. But to see him live at the Blues Fest, it's going to be really cool because it's at Crossroads Stage, which I think is down in the Wrigley Plaza area, I think is where they're putting it this year.
Yeah.
And 2:45 to 4 p.m., that's like right in the middle of the day. It's like perfect time. The weather's going to be great. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
All right.
And to be able to hear you. But then you can also go to Buddy Guy's that night.
Nice, right.
And that's going to be a 10 p.m. slot that you're going to be over there with the same band.
Yes. There we're going to, since it's a club, it's not as large as we're actually going to bring the rhythm section and Chris Cain. So Chris and I are going to go at it a little bit more.
Yeah.
It'll be piano, bass, drums, and Chris and I fronting. So it'll be without the horn section that night.
Which will be cool because then people can get a real feel for, okay, here's the fest scene, but then this is what you get when you go to a blues club, right?
And we're going to get down a little, but there's more time, you know. Chris and I and the band for 75 minutes, we're going to have to get it fast. But opening up a little more at the club and kind of what they call letting it ride a little bit.
Well, and also it's always cool too because at Buddy Guy's, I mean, you guys get off stage, people will be able to hang out with you and say hi.
Yeah, buy CDs, we'll sign things, of course.
Yeah, and speaking of CDs, now you have been touring all over the place. I mean, and I've been watching, you know, your tour schedule, and you're playing less and less and less in town. Although I looked at your schedule, you're going to be a little bit more in town here for the next month, but less and less in town and more out of town.
Yes.
And I know that's been something that you've been really pursuing and pushing to have happen and get your name out there. And it seems like you're getting really consistent bookings throughout Europe. And were you in? Well, I don't think you went to Brazil at this time, but
October,
did you?
November.
Okay.
I was there. Yeah.
So I mean, you've been really pushing it out. How does that happen? I mean, because it's a slow process, but I'm sure a lot of musicians are watching this and going, man, how is he just consistently pushing that envelope and getting out there and getting his name out there into Europe?
Well, I think it's different it's individual. So it could be different for me than it was for others. Others may have started out catching a break earlier on. In my case, I performed in Chicago a lot, you know, like a lot. The blues clubs, the jazz clubs, the festivals, running different projects or different styles of music that I enjoyed playing. And last few years, I finally decided to put it on under Guy King and just play my music.
Oh, okay.
So not look at it like, oh, it's a blues thing, it's a jazz thing. This is me. This is what I sound like. This is what I believe in musically anyway, a lot more than the styles and genre selection. It's not really for me.
Right.
You know? So, and then I saw that I'm like, people used to love me here. Thank God, I appreciate it. One of the reasons why we're still here. But I noticed that I'm a lot less known out of the circuit here. So people used to come and see me, but they would, social media came and I get a lot of calls like, how come you never come to Georgia? How come you're not in LA? How come? I started thinking, I'm like, I need to get to these places.
Why aren't I in LA? Why aren't you in Georgia? Yeah.
Offers came, I took them. They loved it. Thank God. Again, I got an offer to come back.
Yeah.
Another offer came in Texas, which I started performing, doing a few
right,
runs there. They loved it. I started doing it more. Europe finally opened its door. Truth, my album for Delmar, came out and received a Blues Music Award nomination, which opened more doors. More venues wanted. Europe opened. Brazil has been open for me since 2011.
Yeah.
And I renewed it. It's been 3 years, and I just went on tour there again. A month-long tour was great. So things happen naturally, and you try to do the best you do. And I wanted to come to people's towns, cities, villages, and play for them. So I started doing that more and playing less. It led to me playing less here locally, but it's okay because I still have a few home-based places, venues where I come and perform.
Right.
A lot less than I did, and then it leaves me more time to left me a little more time to write my own music, to produce, to arrange, and get my music out to a wider audience, I believe.
But I also think, and you know, coming from like your generation, I talked to a lot of different musicians that are your age, and then the older generation, you know, and a lot of those guys are coming in because this is what they've always done. This is their music, and this is blues, this is jazz, this is what they've done. But I think like your generation, my generation, it's like I don't think there's that many people like our age that are saying, "Oh, that's blues, that's jazz." They're saying that's Guy King, that's this guy, that's that guy. They don't care if you play a jazz tune, a blues tune, a hip hop tune in the middle of your set. They came to see you, but that's because they've grown up with all those different musics mashed together. So they either like it or they don't like it.
I would like to believe that. It fits what my vision of music a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, and people who I learn from. Look, I love Albert King and B.B. King as much as I do Wes Montgomery and Earl Garner. I really do. It's just sometimes I'm in the mood to hear this type of feeling, and sometimes that. So I'd be lying if I told you this is what I play, this is what I do. I learned equally from those. I learned a lot from Ray Charles, from a lot of people who already blended styles way before I was born.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it was all, I don't know. I started playing guitar because of Eric Clapton. He played a lot of different styles of music, but he was known and got his fame as Eric Clapton.
That's right.
You know, what you gonna say about that? You're gonna start analyzing what he played. It doesn't matter. As long as the music is good and comes from the heart, and it has your personal feeling and identity in it, then you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it anyway.
Well, and that leads us right into your new recording that you're doing at Delmark. And this is going to be an exciting recording. We talked a little bit off air before we started recording this today, but these are all your own tunes. And you were telling me that you feel like this recording is really your own voice. Finally, like, this is Guy King. Yes. You feel really good about that. So let's talk about the process, how this whole album came about. And I think you're talking about maybe late summer, early fall release.
Hoping, yes.
So we're doing a little preview here behind the scenes before the Blues Fest. But let's talk about that. How did this whole thing come about? Like, with the let's do this album, let's do it at Delmark. Yeah. What am I going to put on that recording?
So it was time to record another album. Actually, I took a little longer than I thought and I expected.
Because you did Truth in 2017?
Released 2016.
16?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been a long time, but I've been touring a lot.
Yeah,
I've been playing and I did different things, and Truth has a large selection of songs on it. So it took me a little time to get it together. I added different songs to the set, and I also started writing a lot more. Myself.
Is that a conscious effort? Like, I'm going to start writing more, or just started coming out?
No, different things happened through my life, and it needed to come out, so it just started coming. You know, met Sarah right when we were working on Truth, and
his wife Sarah Marie Young, by the way.
And we got married, and our daughter was born. Those are things that has a large role and a big significance to me. Yeah. So it started coming through my voice and my guitar playing. I switched after many years of playing a Fender Telecaster exclusively. I switched to playing Gibson ES335. So for some people, they were like, okay, it's a guitar.
Right.
It has me holding it different. The sound that comes out is more what I had in my mind for the last few years.
What made you switch?
I just heard it for a few years before the switch. Started something that didn't feel like the voice that I was hearing. You know, it came out a little different than what I was imagining. Yeah. And the night that I played for Buddy Guy, the 5th Star Awards, actually, the tribute to Buddy. Sarah and I were walking to the car, and I said, I'm done with the Telecaster.
Wow.
What? But I said, I hear something different. I know it now. I've been feeling it for a while, so I started searching. Led me to the Chicago Music Exchange to try some different things. Led me out to LA to Norman's Rare Guitar, the known guitar shop. And Norman is a friend. Started exploring with a Gibson guitar, and after years, all of a sudden, it felt good. And the sound was more what I had in mind. Through Norman, met great people in LA I didn't know before. So everything kind of... Yeah. You know,
are you endorsed by Gibson? Or are you
Gibson
working on
worked
that?
different. No, actually, we met a few months ago in Los Angeles, and they wanted to make me a part of the family. I was reading moves, awesome. So now I am a part of the Gibson family.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That's great. But the nice thing is that you actually were drawn to the Gibson guitar.
I made this change before
they welcomed you to the family.
Yeah. So we actually met, and they knew who I was. They said, "You play Telecaster?" I said, "Actually, I play a Gibson now." What? Really? Like, we supporting you? I'm like, I don't know anybody. Right. Like, we need you in the family. Yeah. So I'm very, very thrilled. It's actually moving to me to know that I'm awesome. In a house like that supported great players and still do today. And some of my biggest influences: T-Bone Walker, Wes Montgomery, B.B. and Albert King played Gibson guitar.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
So and the sound was more what I wanted, but also the acoustic qualities. For example, I practice without an amp. So I sit and just play the guitar for what it is. Playing a semi-hollow, the Gibson ES-335, the tone is a lot nicer and pleasant without the amp too. So when Sarah and Angel, the baby, were asleep, I would sit on the couch and really enjoy just playing the guitar again, kind of like when I was coming up as a young kid, as a teenager. So it led to me writing new compositions, new melodies, and having different thoughts, which all led that in Los Angeles and meeting Norm and getting together with my friends Kirk Fletcher and Josh Smith and Art Menezes and meeting Joe Bonamassa there. Different thoughts started rolling, and I got together with David Ritz, who I collaborated with writing songs, and more songs came. A lot more topics, a lot more feelings I wanted to talk about.
It's almost like that sound opened up the door because you had it in there, but then all of a sudden it's just that change. It sounds
I think though that life led to that change of sound that I wanted to hear. You know, different things in me changed, which led me to hearing things. I wanted to hear things different, hear a different sound, and the guitar accommodated that. It was more what I was looking for. So that had me writing a lot more songs, and I just decided. I thought maybe putting two different records out. One which will be the blues and the jazz combination with the soul that people know me for, and picking out songs by other people that will influence me and giving them my renditions. And I thought about doing that and then doing another totally original album and releasing it independently, or maybe see which label out of the market would like to put it out.
Yeah.
And then the more I thought about it and tried to play out those other songs that were not mine, I didn't feel them at the moment as much as I did the songs that I wrote. I had more ideas, more imagination, more need to sing and play the songs that I wrote. A certain selection of them. So I picked out a certain number of songs and said, this will be the album. Delmark Records changed hands a year ago. I think it's today, actually.
Just about a year,
yeah. And they talked and showed interest in them and Dick Sherman about doing another album. And I talked to them, and then I said, I want to put this material. I'm not sure it'll go along with what you have in mind for me, but this is what I'm going to do. So either we do two, and they were really excited and really, I think they want to take the label.
Well, it seems like
a little further than what it was.
Well, it seems like Delmark, which is great, under
Julia
and Elvio, and Steve Wagner's still there.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah,
and it seems like they're starting to record, even on the jazz side. They're starting to record. They're not pigeonholing themselves into one genre or another. It's kind of like they did a recording with Paquito de Rivera with a Volcano Radar, and they did Fareed Haq with a string quartet, and Guy King. As Guy King, and it's really cool, and I know that's a legendary album too. So, and you got to record in kind of like the famous recording studio there too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where all the famous blues recordings were made. I mean, that's the legend.
Some of the equipment. Yeah, I mean, Truth was me too. I have to be honest. I think Truth, especially the original songs on Truth on the album, it was what I needed to come to this album. So when I listened to it, I just shared it yesterday actually. My Happiness, the song I sang with Sarah and played. And I listened, I'm like, actually it was better than what I imagined. Than I thought, because I don't
That's
listen.
a great tune.
I don't listen back too much to my own music after time passes. But so I think it was a necessary step. I'm proud of the album, but I learned a lot of things because of that album and since that album that led me to the album.
Well, you're evolving. That's the common process. I think some artists just get into that groove and they just play the same thing and they play gigs and they just keep going, and that's what they want to do, and that's what their sound is. They're happy with it, but you're not that type of person. You want to continue to evolve.
I wasn't sure. Somebody asked me what was I writing in another interview, and I'm like, did I feel the need to? Like you said, and I said I was not a fan of writing before. I have to be honest with you. A lot of my biggest biggest influences were great interpreters, great performers, great players.
Yeah.
Not necessarily great writers. So I don't think you can be great at one and not at the other. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But then things happen. And when things happen naturally, it's not like I need to write more to make it all about mine.
Right.
First of all, maybe I was a little self-conscious. Maybe I was more comfortable performing, arranging, singing, or writing than actually sitting and writing. But I stopped taking it so seriously.
Yeah.
And things started flowing. And then with the things that we talked about, that my life changed, the different voice, something needed to happen. And these songs came about. David Ritz encouraged me to write more too.
Mm-hmm.
I told him I want to do these songs, but add these covers. And he was like, stop it, guy.
Yeah.
Like, but what's wrong? He said, like, he complimented me, really pushed me. He said, that's right. Let's let you have things you want to say. And he was right in that case.
Yeah, and it's pretty exciting because you added strings on some of these tunes too.
Yes,
so
yes.
I mean, people are going to hear this, and when it comes out late summer, early fall on Del Mar.
We don't have a date yet, but we'll get to it probably.
We're shooting for it. We're shooting for it.
Yes.
But you're going to hear some string arrangements too on this, which is going to be really cool. And you talked about a little bit, just briefly, talk about just the difference all of a sudden when you first heard yourself singing with strings with your wife. And you were like, wow, why haven't I done this before?
Yeah, there was a project, there is a project, Steve Millian, the pianist, put together a project, a tribute to Elisa Regina and Antonio Carlos Jobim for a great record they recorded in the 70s. And I was asked to sing the Portuguese part with Sarah. Sarah was the female part, I played the male part, I played guitar. There was a great rhythm section and a string section and a flute section in the project. So I heard Sarah singing with the strings, and I was like, wow, I was really touched. And then I'm starting to sing, and the strings are weaving in, and I'm thinking to myself, as I'm going, the first rehearsal, like, what was I thinking? How come I never did that?
Yeah.
I thought it sounded great, my voice against the strings. So did Sarah. And with this material that I wrote, I really thought it would complement having a strings section, a large section, really caress some of the songs. I don't think I used it in the traditional way, as far as only in ballads. That's not what I did on the album.
Yeah.
So John Elkins did the string arrangements on the Brazilian project. He, I should say, he's the one that took him out and orchestrated.
Right.
And I called John and told him my thoughts, and it was great. It worked great. He wrote the arrangements. We wrote them together. And I'm really, really happy.
That's awesome.
With what I'm listening back to now.
Well, we can't wait to hear that. Of course, I'm going to bring it back to Blues Fest and, talking about all of this stuff. So you've got all this stuff coming up. So you know that there's going to be a whole lot of Guy King performing everywhere in the fall with the new recording.
Hopefully.
But June 7th at the Budweiser Crossroads Stage, 2:45 to 4 p.m., you're going to be there with Chris Cain. So definitely check that out. And Buddy Guys, June 7th. 10 p.m. With the rhythm section and Chris Cain. And you're also playing a couple of early warnings here. If you're in Germany, July 5th, you're going to be playing a festival in Germany. You're flying over there to do a blues fest in Germany.
Yes. There's a big festival, Geildorf Blues Festival, or Geildorf Festival. Not sure if it's billed as a blues festival.
It says Blues Fest.
It does. Okay, good. The Geildorf Blues Festival. I saw a great lineup, and I'll be there on July 5th.
Just one off. Just fly to Germany and back that afternoon, no problem, right? And then you're doing the Joliet Blues Fest August 10th. That's going to be cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to do that.
That's a great, and that's with your regular band and all that, and you guys are going to be killing it down there. So you got a lot of stuff. And then I looked, and you're always doing solo things when you're in town at House of Blues, I think, right? Yes,
House of Blues, some at Legends, some at other venues. I usually play some solo shows, evening shows when I'm in town. Keep the chops, keep the names.
Yeah. So all the information's at guyking.net. And, of course, all the information for the Chicago Blues Festival. We're going to have the full program up online at chicagobluesprogram.com. And also bluesinchicago.com is the website to get updated news and information and calendars on all the blues events that are happening around town. Guy, it's a pleasure, man. I'm so glad we made this happen, and I'm glad you came down here, and I'm really excited to hear the new recording.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, definitely. And, of course, hopefully Guy will see you at the Blues Fest June 7th. Hopefully I will see you at the Blues Fest because it looks like I'm going to be emceeing one of the stages. I'm not sure which one, but I'm going to find that out hopefully before I get there. And until then, hopefully you guys enjoy the blues, enjoy everything Chicago has to offer, and we will see you somewhere out on the scene.